Hello and welcome to Late Night Creatures, the only late night show where we draw monsters and that's about it. I guess there's some commentary mixed in there, but really not that much. 1 second. Alright. So it is the Halloween season, and as such, I do believe that it's time that we start getting into some more scary topics. But before I continue, I'd like to introduce our viewing audience to a few new members of the Late Night Creatures cast. I've brought some friends on for the Halloween season to sort of help out with the workload. I'm kidding, they aren't doing anything. But I'd like to introduce them to you. So first of all, this is our first new friend. His name is Spookaroni. If you can't tell, he's a rat skeleton. That's all he does. His mouth moves, and his tail moves. Moving on from that, sorry, I know this has taken up some time, but you know, this is important, I promise. So then we have, I'm glad to see both of you back. Some of my regulars are coming back around. This is Spookaroni Rex. He's a lot like Spookaroni in that he's a skeleton, but he is a chameleon, which is a reptile. So, there's Spookaroni Rex. And, you know, I don't like to pick favorites, but my personal favorite, this is Spookaribbit. Spookaribbit, if you cannot tell, is a skeleton frog. And he's great. He's adorable, and I love him. Now, they aren't going to help me at all, but they're helping me get into the Halloween spirit. Now, I know last week I said that I was going to be doing Inktober prompts for Halloween, but the prompt for today was flowing, and I didn't like that. I didn't want to do that one. So, I'm going to do my own thing, and you know what? If the Inktober people want to come after me, they can gladly try. I'd like to see them try. So, we're going to be drawing screaming creatures. It's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, as I like to scream loud and often. I don't scream on this show because this is sort of a more chill, relaxed show, and I think adding some screams here and there would really dampen the overall experience and overall vibe that I like this show to have. Well, that's enough of an introduction. You know, I think we should go ahead and get to drawing, since that's the whole point of this. I had to introduce my skeleton friends, though. They're my family, and I hope one day they'll be part of yours, too. So, I think the best thing to do to start a screaming creature of any kind would be to do a nice mouth of some kind. Just a nice shape to sort of base the rest of it off of. I was thinking maybe we just go do something like this. And have it... There we go. I like this scream mouth a lot. I do it a lot in doodles. You know, mindless doodling is sort of my go-to scream mouth. I don't know if I've ever done it on a Late Night Creatures, so I'm glad that I'm doing it now for all of you. Also, since I'm not doing the Inktober prompt this time, I don't have that very fun rule of not erasing when I want to. So we are back on the eraser and the undo. Because, not gonna lie, that last episode gave me some stress every now and then. I wasn't very sure of myself. And, although he did turn up a good drawing. I did like that drawing from last week a lot. But now we're on screaming, which is a fun topic. I think it's, a lot of people really don't realize what goes into a good scream. Because screams really, all in all, have a certain emotion, and they carry a certain weight to them. And I'm not sure people will really realize how much weight a scream can actually carry. Because, you know, you could have a scream of outrage, a scream of fear. You could have a scream of delight, you know. Screams are very versatile. Although for this one, I think we're going more for fear to get into the Halloween spirit. I don't know. I don't think I've ever... I don't know if anyone really dislikes Halloween. Halloween is personally my favorite holiday to take part of. Christmas, of course, is a very good one. But recently, I've sort of noticed, I've sort of started getting less excited for Christmas. Last year, especially. It was sort of like, hey, today's, Christmas is next week. And I'm pretty sure my reaction was, oh yeah, it is. Like, I hadn't thought about it at all. But Halloween, I'm always like, come on, let's gear up, let's get ready. For those who don't know or don't remember, Halloween falls on a Wednesday this year. And there is going to be a late night Creatures. Since people are trick-or-treating and doing that type of stuff, I'm actually going to run that late night Creatures early. Now, it's still going to be late, but instead of 11 Central Time, like I usually do, it's going to be 10. That way I can have an audience, because I'm doing the show... I do the show live, but I'm doing it live with a live audience, hopefully, if everything works out, on Halloween. It's going to be great. It's going to be not digital art. It's going to be analog art. I have some stuff to work out, but that is the dream right now, is to have a nice live extravaganza for our Halloween special. I considered sort of pushing back episodes a bit, so that Halloween episode could be the 20th episode, but upon some reflection and consultation, I decided, you know what, no. We'll just do I think it's going to be our 22nd. The 22nd episode will just be a special one for one reason or another. I'm still going to do something fun for the 20th next week. I'm not entirely certain what we're going to do for that. I have a couple ideas, and in fact, since I have some regulars and I have a good crowd here, I actually want to ask you guys who are watching right now, would any of you be interested in a longer late night Creatures? So for the 20th one, maybe I start at, say, 10 and then go to our usual 11:30 time. You know, if that's something you'd be interested in, maybe not watching. I'm not asking anyone to really watch for the whole time. I mean, that's a long commitment, but maybe just sort of do a marathon draw. So if any of you would be interested in that, let me know. And if not, then I can definitely figure something else out. But that was just sort of my original idea. Now we're gonna get some teeth in here, cause you know, things have teeth. That's my quote of the day. I'm not gonna start doing quotes of the day, but if I find one that I like, I might say, hey, that's our quote of the day, and then it's your job to remember it. But that is a nice, that's a nice puckered lip that I drew just then. That's a proud moment. That's a proud papa moment right there. That was a nice lip. All right, this mouth has been taking a lot of time, but that's all right. You know, sometimes you just gotta eat some time. I'm actually gonna make this a little thicker, and then thin it out around here, and make that thicker too, because it's molars. There we go. So, how's everyone's week been? Everyone been having a good time? All right, so I'm getting some. I'm getting a couple yeses from some of our regulars, so that's good. At least I can have. At least I'll have some base audience. That's cool. That might be what we do. I might do because I was thinking about doing another like callback episode like I did last time, but full honesty, none of the creatures. I've liked a lot of the creatures that I've drawn in the past 9 episodes or 8 episodes, and I'm probably gonna like this one, but none of them, in my personal opinion, have any redraw value. Not to me, at least. So as we go, I mean, as I look at it and start thinking about the logistics of the 20th episode, maybe I'll change my mind and be like, yeah, I can do both. I can call back and do some. Wow, he's screaming. That's a nice scream mouth. That was definitely worth that time there. If you hear if you heard a ringing just then, don't worry about that. We're having some. we're having some, I don't know what the right word is, but we're having some technical difficulties with our air conditioning unit, and it's doing some weird stuff. So if you hear any odd noises, it's probably that. Alright. Moving on now. Finally out of face territory here. There we go. Kabam. Or no, not out of face territory, but out of mouth territory, which is probably going to take up most of our space here. Yeah. I'm tired tonight, as usual. If there's ever late night creatures where I'm not tired, that's going to be interesting. Because that might make it, again, like I said, a little less mellow. I'm a little bit less reserved when I'm awake than when I'm sleeping. It should be eating ice cream. I'll consider it. All right. So, if you didn't realize, he's got some eyebrows here. They're his super awesome magical eyebrows. They're not magic. That was a lie. I just lied to my audience. But they are big and they are distraught. Which isn't that the real magic of humanity? Big and distraught? I don't know, but I don't know anyone who does either. So, you do what you gotta do. Alright, so let's get some pupils here. Alright, I want some small some small little pupils there. Do I, or do I want big uns? Let's look at both options. Let's explore both options, shall we? I think I want the big ones. Looking at it, I think I want the big ones, and I think I want them to have some white pupils. White pupils, black irises. You know what? Actually, I wonder if that'll just... No, that's good. that's good as it is. Wow. Good. Wonderful. Give him a nice sort of... I don't know what I would use to describe that. Rough back. And let's get some rough ends, a hand here. I say rough end because on this show I think I tend to draw hands a little less refined. But that's a-okay. Because honestly, it doesn't matter that much. This is something I've always sort of preached on this show, and I think I sort of preach in general. When you're drawing monsters, proportions don't have to be perfect because they're monsters. Unless you're trying to draw like a realistic monster, in which case you should probably think out skeletal structure and stuff like that. But even then, their proportions don't have to be perfect. You just have to have a reason and a meaning for them not being perfect, like a evolutionary advantage or something like that. If you're designing a monster or an alien for sci-fi or fantasy, it's best for any really weird changes to have some reason to them. But for our purposes in late night creatures, these are sort of just creatures that exist. You know? They just sort of are in their own world, and have their own things going on. And so I don't think that for them it really needs much explanation. For example, in Nightmare Before Christmas, there's some really weird monsters because it's just a monster town, and a lot of the stuff they do, you know, doesn't really make sense. The mayor is a prime example of that. I don't get why his head does that spin around thing. But I mean, if someone knows, then please explain it, and I might redact that statement. But oh, does he have a name? We'll get to that. Naming is a thing we do, but we'll get to it later. we'll get to that later, because I think I want to draw another creature. Real quick. But yeah, I don't really see any type of advantage to him having that to him having that. Sorry, I was drawing an extremely bad thumb, and I had to fix it multiple times. Anyways, I don't see an advantage to the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas having that spinny head. I don't think there is any purpose. Now, if someone wants to correct me and say, well, it's because he's multifaceted and he hides his personality, you know, like a politician, it's funny. You know, please tell me, but I don't think that's what it is. I really don't. So he's screaming. This side's not as wrinkly as it needs to be. There we go. Now we're getting into it. Add in some nice. Ew. He's gross. He's a bit gross. I'm gonna add in some lip lines here, just so that's a little more. Those don't look the best, but I'm gonna roll with them actually. Usually lip lines are better if they're subtle, but I'm gonna just sort of make them have kind of a spiky lip. And let's make this a little more. These a little more bulgy, I suppose would be the word to use here. That's fine on that side. Let's give him some hair. Late night creatures with hair are always fun. Oh, nope. I wanted it to be more rounded. There we go. And, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get repeating the same thing I just said. So the question here is as Bella just pointed out, what is he screaming at? Well, I think it's probably, I don't know, how old would you say our young Screambo is? Cause I'm thinking perhaps he's just out of college, and perhaps he's very scared of. Now we're just sort of workshopping here, but perhaps he's very scared of a large amount of, you guessed it, student debt. There he is. It's his crate. The debt man just delivered his big old crate of student debt for him here. And he's not quite sure how to handle it. He's never paid bills before. I'm just gonna write government papers and such. But I guess the argument can be made that this isn't very spooky and it's not, you know, Halloween. So I'll fix that. I know how to fix it. So everyone just calm down and I'll fix it. I'll handle it. I'll handle it perfectly. There we go. See? Like I said. Perfect for Halloween. Wee. That's just a jack-o'-lantern on it. That's what he's actually scared of. The jack-o'-lantern has spooked him too bad. And now, you know what? Change my mind. Let's just double up here. Let's erase this text, and then I'm getting ideas, which is perhaps a bad thing, but we'll see. So, here he is. He's got his little grabbers. Just has this limp hand coming out of the box. All right, yeah, and then we have that other limp hand. Yeah, he's limp-handed because all he has to do is count money all day. Because in fact, he is the student debt monster coming around to collect the October dues. He looks different. He looks different every month. For example, in November he wears a big old pilgrim hat, but for Halloween he's donned his jack-o'-lantern to effectively spook all the college kids into giving them their student debt. I'm also gonna give him a tongue. Attempt to give him a tongue. Attempt is that's much too big. Attempt is an optimal word here, because I'm not sure if I can. That works. That's fine. All right. So I think oh man, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna start shading soon. I promise, and giving names soon. But I gotta change something about this jack-o'-lantern now that this idea has come to fruition here. How do you? I got it. I figured it out. I don't draw these a lot. I don't draw. Yeah, you can see what they are. I don't draw them a lot. I actually remember recently my friend was like, "How do you draw these?" And I was like, "I'm not sure." But then I figured it out, and now I can use that knowledge to help in my quest to that was not good. To help in my quest. There we go. All right, so we have the student debt monster. So we'll just call him the SDM. Not a gross thing, just in case anyone gets confused. And then we can have what should our young boy's name be? Now I can give him pupils. There we no, alright. No pupils, he's fine as he is. So let's see. What should his name be? I have no idea. Let's just go for it. We'll call him Calajo. Calegiston is our wonderful screaming child. So it's Halloween, which means I'm going to use orange for our shading today. Because it's the official color of All Hallows Eve. Orange and black. Of course. Jethro is a good name, but I think you sent that while I was trying to decide, and I decided probably while you were typing it. So apologies on that. I should have waited for suggestions. But I like Calegiston. Now Calegiston, this is one that I'd redraw again. I'd probably redraw. God, I can't even remember what episodes I've done. I cannot even remember. Oh yeah, I did Woblo. I'd draw Woblo again. He was fun. I'd draw him in like a more battle ready pose. Jesus. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think there's been a lot of extremely memorable creatures this round. I think the whatever his name was, the knight that I drew on the Something Cool episode, I think he was fun, but I don't know if I'd draw him again, because I don't really know what else to do with him. But, you know, I have a couple. So if I do decide to do another callback, I have a few to use. We'll see what happens. News will come out on my Twitter and my Instagram, which I use less, but information will come out. I promise. I swear it. You will get info at some point. Alright. So, yeah. Now we're at the calm part after that rant about not knowing what to do with the 20th episode. Now we're at the fun part where we can chill out, we can shade, and we can chat. So people in the chat, how are you guys doing? I certainly hope that you're having a good day, a good night, a good late night, creatures. I know I sure am. Awesome. So, I hope if any of you watching has the student debt monster coming to you this Halloween that, you know, you just pay him his money and he'll go away. It's basically how it works. Just give him his money and he'll leave you be. Kinda. Every now and then. He might come back later, but you're fine for a bit. And if you're ready for Halloween, no. Okay, I have an idea for the episode after the 20th episode. Now, I just thought of one. So, so prepare, because I've thought of a fun thing I can do. But it's a secret. It's a secret fun thing. But hopefully I remember it. I hope that if you're carving a jack-o'-lantern this year, that you don't carve anything inappropriate into it. I know that I've seen people doing that, and my reply to people carving inappropriate things in jack-o'-lanterns is, kids see that, and you're being very rude, and you're wrecking the Halloween spirit. So if you have plans to carve a rude thing into a jack-o'-lantern this Halloween, I got 2 choice words for you. Please don't. That's all I can really say. I don't know why I decided to talk about that. I don't know how it popped into my head. I just remember seeing it somewhere, and my first thought was, why would you do that? So don't do that. So yeah, here we are. Collegiston and the student debt monster. If I must say, a winning combo. Well, winning for one of them. Specifically, this pumpkin-headed man here. He's winning a lot, if you know what I mean. If you're catching my drift, he's getting money from the other. All right. Well, I think that's my time. Thank you all for joining me on this Screamtastic adventure. We got a little odd into student debt. Oh, real talk. Someone just is asking me about real talk. Yeah, real talk. Oh, it's real talk with me. Yeah. So yeah, we're closing out here. I'd like to thank you all for joining me this late night. Look out at Cube Tours on Twitter. It's the same thing on Instagram to see like news about what's going on, and also just to check out artwork and what's going on with my artwork. It's pretty cool. On that note, I suppose that's all we can really do. I'm extremely tired and I'm not quite sure how to end this, so I'm just rambling and have my cursor over the stop the live stream button, waiting to stop the live stream. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say goodbye.